Lexi has just overtaken Starvo as the hero with the most cards available to them. Starvo had 635 and now Lexi has 658. Take that. So yeah, I guess in this video I'm going to explain how we're not using any of the new cards. We're using a couple. This set doesn't change much for us. A sweet card. Inertia is good. It's pretty good. We don't care. Boulder Trap. We don't care about that. This feels like a Riptide card. We don't care about that. Death Touch. Amulet of Earth. Humble is annoying for us. It's very, very strong. The spiciest pick. What I think of Codex of Frailty. It's a little bit more awkward than you might expect. What a time to be alive. I reckon it's just the best card in the game. Learning. Yeah, we're doing this outside. That's the joke. I'm so embarrassed. So like, to be honest, most of these cards we just don't care about. They all do fun things with aim counters on, and we don't really have access to aim counters as Lexi. Basically, there are some ways that we can get aim counters, but it means we have to run a garbage bow, or we have to run something like Blessings of, the Blessing card that gives you an aim counter. You can see how much I care for that card. A lot of the great cards that are in here for ranges, Fletcher Redtail I think is really strong. It's just not good in Lexi. Barbed Undertow, doesn't do anything in Lexi. So let's look at the other ones. Amplifying Arrow. I think this is a sweet card. This is really cool. I think it is like another one of those cards that goes in the pile of awesome looking combo ranger cards that we can't manage to make work. What if we pitch stacked a Tri-Shot and a Rapid Fire, and then we use Perch Grapplers? You know, you've done this before. It doesn't end well. It looks like it needs a little bit more help before this one gets across the line. Wild speculation. The art from this arrow is like an Aria archer, and it looks like an Earth Ranger, if I may. So I feel like it's very odd that this card is part of Outsiders when the art is just like so clearly not in the pits. This makes me feel like at some point we're going to get some sweet Earth Ranger, at which point we might get the combo deck we've always dreamed of. Amulet of Earth would be really good for this card, as well as everyone's favorite Channel Mount Heroic. So I think we just need to hold fire on Amplifying Arrow for a little bit. It's going to be great. It's not yet. For the other arrows, what have we got? Infection, Sedation, and what's the other one called? Quiet Bird. Withering Shot. They are relevant for us, and in particular I'm looking at Sedation Shot. Inertia is good in CC. It's good against Rangers, good against Oldham, good against Icelander. So I think this could be a candidate to swap in for something like Sleep Dart. I'm not too fussed about infecting. We just don't. We're not trying to damage race, right? Sure, it could come in for a 1 for 7. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I could see Fuseless running this, but it's not really providing anything for the ice control disruption Lexi. And the other one, Withering Shot. Like, it's nice to have in the back pocket in case Ninja pops off. Or Assassin, turning off the Dachis or the little knife things, I forget what they're called. Could be a big deal. It's nice to not have to worry about Mask of Momentum triggers, but until Katsu becomes more of a problem, I think we leave that in the Azalea pile. Speaking of clearly for Azalea, Spire Sniping, sure it's not an aim counter, but we don't really care about it. I mean, maybe, nah, we don't care about it. Widowmaker, I was excited about the blues for a little while as a replacement for blue Headshot, until I realized that people can block with a single card from hand and with something like a dead battle-worn piece of equipment, so like an Aetherium Weave or a Grasp of the Arknight. Yeah, and then this card sucks. Murkmai Grapnel? Oh, I don't care. Okay, now the Lace effect, Lace with Bloodrot, Lace with Frailty, and Lace with Inertia. We don't care, I don't think. I still think Seek and Destroy is Lexi's best pump, and if we weren't running it in the last meta, I don't see why we'd be running it now. It's a trap! These are interesting. I always kind of liked the crew traps, not to play with, but just as a concept, you know, it's kind of cute. Boulder Trap? seems really good against Oldhim, because if he swings with Titan Fist, then we can just put up -1 on all their stuff. That's very good. Pendulum Trap, pretty garbage. We're not fatiguing anyone, so we don't care about that. Tarpet Trap, no. Blood Rot, Frailty, and Inertia. I'm not huge on these 0 for 3 traps. Like 0 for 3 is a below rate defense reaction. Let's just be real about that. Like if we wanted to run defense reactions, we'd be running Sync Below. We would have been running it for a while, or people would have been experimenting with it, right? For a card that's not an ice card, is not an arrow, and is not a blue, for that card to make it into the main deck for this Disruption Ice Lexi that we're running, it's got to be really good. Like I mentioned, Seek and Destroy didn't make the cut. We're talking Rain Razors, we're talking 3 of a kind, and you'll generally, like Lightning Surge is my little baby, but yeah, you'll generally get one set of cards that can go into that slot without destroying your consistency too much. Trench of Sunken Treasure. As soon as I learn how to say that name, I am going to be even more in love with this card. Not for Lexi. Aww. I think tucking a card from Arsenal is a huge cost just for one resource. This feels like a Riptide card to try and ungunk your arsenal. Lexi wants to be playing with those cards in her arsenal. She cares too much about tempo. I mean, I guess you could... Oh, it has to be face down as well? Please try it. Please try it. Tell me what you think. I think Tunic is just better. Tunic is quite a strong card. Van Braces, I'm really not fussed about it. We just run shocks, that's fine. This is for other people into Oldhim. Not us. We've already got, you know, the best arm piece in the game. Whew, that's a take. Grasp of the Arknight has something to say about that. Anyway, I don't care. Quivers. Oh, yippee. The Quivers are just like a gift. Yeah, I thought Lexi was great. Lexi was quite strong. And they've just given us these Quivers to play with as well. So there are 2 flavors that we can look at. First one is Abyssal Depths. Oh, this is cool. So we can pretty much just take out that Remembrance that I've been running. Because, yeah, you've kind of got it on a stick. Remembrance is kind of an awkward card in the deck. It's not a blue, it's not an ice, it's not an arrow. You know the deal by now. I think there might even be some lines where instead of dumping into Shock Charmers or something when you get pummeled, you could just dump into Quiver and get the shuffle. Shuffling all that nasty stack of blues that you've got. I don't pitch stack. I know you don't pitch stack. If you shuffle that nasty stack of blues with some reds, suddenly every hand you draw just feels great. So yeah, I think if we're not getting fatigued, we can just casually use it as a pay 3, shuffle your deck, and like add a little bit more juice. It's very, very strong. I think this is going to be our default Quiver, as much as I love Quiver of Rustling Leaves. As soon as this was spoiled, I was just over the moon. It's so good. So this is like a piece for consistency, particularly with 3 of a kind turns. We've all had that 3 of a kind turn where you draw a bunch of blues and you make a sad face. So this lets you dump one of them to try and rip an arrow off the top. I've played with it in a few games. I've used its ability once. It hit an arrow, so that was great, and it turned into a blowout turn. So, I mean, considering we get it for free, not bad. Not bad at all. Would I run it as well as the Abyssal Depths? We'll see if we have space. It's funny looking at Rustling Leaves after all these years. It's been like 1 year since Aria was released, but it feels like all these years. It feels funny because we've coped for so long, and now we've got this little get out of jail free card. It's just such a treat, and it's hard to leave it in the deck box, right? So yeah, I'll see if we need it. It is lovely for smoothing out our consistency. You know, I'm a big fan of consistency. I assumed this would be my default Quiver, but having seen a little bit more about what Abyssal Depths can do, I think maybe we could just run Abyssal Depths, have an extra card for our sideboard. Hot tip with Quiver of Rustling Leaves. Probably don't do this, but if you're in a real pinch, you can activate the ability twice or multiple times, as long as you're holding priority. So the way this works is, as an instant you pay 3, you hold priority, it doesn't resolve. You pay another 3, so there are 2 instances of the instant that need to resolve. So you reveal the top card of your library, it's an arrow, it goes in your arsenal, and then you destroy the quiver, but there's still that second activation that needs to be resolved. So you can potentially slot 2 arrows into your arsenal. Is it jank? Probably. It's probably jank. Both of the arrows would have to have go again or something, or you've got a Perch Grappler's turn, but you've just sunk 6 pitch into 2 activations of Rustling Leaves, so you probably don't have enough pitch for Perch Grapplers as well. I don't know, it's just something cool. Maybe keep it in mind. The spiciest pick that no one saw coming is 1 red headshot. Not the Outsider's card that you were expecting. The reason here is that I think it's really good with Abyssal Depths. When you're in that late game situation, if you put +1 on a red headshot, then it comes in for 7. You'll leak past the 2 card block, which is a big deal. I mean, it's not a disruptive arrow, so I don't think we want to run 3, but having 1 in the grave for later on in the game when we need a little bit of extra damage to push over a 2 card block, I think it could be a game winner in a lot of situations. So the reason I'm looking at the generics is less for what we care about running, but what we care about having run against us. Down and dirty, not too fast, could be annoying. Amnesia, we don't care about that. Give and take, we don't care about that. We don't care about most of these. Humble is annoying for us. It's just like Sleep Dart and the Mirror. If you put a card in your arsenal face down which doesn't have go again, and you are not able to use Lexi to flip it, then your turn is bricked. So people could start playing Humble against us. I'll be interested to see if they start using it against other matchups as well. I think it has potential to be used. The rest of these are pretty bad. Oh, what else have we got? Oh, right, we've got these hybrid cards. Death Touch, I don't really care for. We could reload it off a Bolt and Shot or something, but otherwise it's just not an arrow, so like, again, it hurts our ratios. Can't load it with a bow, you can't play it off a 3 of a kind turn. We don't want it. Oh, it's my flatmate. Yeah, she's very confused. Yeah, she doesn't know about this situation yet. This is very new for me as well. Hey. Yeah, it's a bit of a funny one. It's kind of a joke, because I'm outside. And it is a joke, don't worry about it. Yeah. Alright. Place. Everyone's having a big chat about these codices. I don't know what the etiquette is there. Of these, Frailty and Blood Rot look like the best. Inertia is a little bit risky. I haven't used them yet. Everyone thinks they're great. I think they've got potential. They again fit in that slot where they're not blue, they're not ice cards, they're not arrows. You guys are sick of me already. I get it. I think it's good. I think it's pretty good. Diggle from the past. It's Diggle from the future. I need to talk more about the Codexes. They're one of the top contenders to actually go on Lexi, and I didn't really talk about them. I was like, I think it's good. It could be good. They're really good. So I don't own any. Instead, I got this custom copy, which we'll be using today to go through some lines, because that's the main reason I'm hesitant on this card, because I'm not sure how it fits into Lexi's lines. It's a little bit more awkward than you might expect in Lexi, and a lot of this is to do with the double arsenal situation. So let's try things out. I have got my setup here. I'm in a small cave. It's pretty cozy. So let's just draw some cards, put some arrows in the bin. Situation number 1, 4-card hand. Something in arsenal. This is like pretty much how you're playing most of your games. It doesn't matter whether it's flipped or not, we can put it face up. We can't use the Frailty off the bat because it'll stick an arrow in arsenal. It won't have go again, so we can't shoot more than 1 arrow in this turn. So that doesn't work. So I'm not sure what the line is if we have an arrow in arsenal. That's pretty much the problem here. We could do our normal line where we say +1, and then we could say either go again. If we have a tunic floating, we can shoot the last one. Where does this card come into it? For example, if this fatigue shot was instead an ice vein from my hand, then I would be pissed off that this wasn't a fuse card. So yeah, it's already like a little bit awkward. So if we have an arrow in arsenal, it doesn't do great things. So let's say it is our arsenal card. Situation number 2, 4-card hand, face down in arsenal. What can we do with this? I guess we just play it out. The nice thing here is that we get threat selection. I mean, almost always we're going to get an Ice Vein because they're quite strong cards. Maybe if we're against an Oldhim or something, we'll want a Fatigue Shot. Maybe if we're against another Lexi, we'll want a Sleep Dart. Let's say we're against an Oldhim or something like that, and we want a Fatigue Shot. So this comes in face down. And to be able to play our turn, we're going to need to use Lexi. Sweet. And we have to discard a card, that's fine. And the opponent maybe has to discard a card if they have an empty arsenal. They get a Frailty, we get a Ponder. So that's good, I think. So say, +1, go again. And say we've got Tunic up, we can shoot the last one. So great, I mean, we shot 3 arrows. One of them was selected from our graveyard to be the arrow that we want in this situation. We've got a Ponder, they've got a Frailty, so like some value there. They might have dropped a card. Situation number 3, so we have Winter's Bite face down in arsenal, Codex of Frailty face up. We are going to use Lexi, give them a Frostbite. Winter's Bite, we have to run that out. Now we say go again, fuse. And hopefully we have a Tunic up. We say go again. We don't even need a Tunic. Oh, we don't even need the Tunic. Because this will leave us with 2 floating. And then when we run the Codex out. Yeah, that's quite strong. So this really only works when we have that second blue in hand. Okay, that's quite strong. Learning. Let's run this line out. Let's see what happens. If we have a card in Arsenal that doesn't have go again, we need to play a little differently. So here we have to start with flipping Lexi. We shoot, fusing, happy days, 1 float. We can use Shock Charmers once here. And the reason is because when we play out Codex of Frailty, we don't have any cards left. We've got 2 floating because of the way that we've pitched that card using Shock Charmers. So we can't discard. Pretty cool. One of these guys comes back face down. Now we want to shoot the face down one. The reason for this is if we shoot the face up one, when we ponder, we can't put this in Arsenal because we don't have a face up card for New Horizon. So we have to shoot the face down one, which is all good. So that turn we shot 2 arrows off a 4-card hand. Is that it? We gave them a Frailty. We gave ourselves a very dangerous Ponder, because if this is not a go again thing, yeah, we can't put this here. Or else our next turn is just garbage. If it was something like a Winter's Bite, then we're in the money. But yeah, this is very dangerous. So I feel like if you're running Codex of Frailty, you have to change the way that you're prioritizing your arsenal. Maybe even change some of the arrows in here. And what I mean by that is like maybe you have to have arrows with go again. Falcon Wing is pretty bad. Sic Em Shot. Really rather not. Here's a line though. This is pretty cool. Let's try this out. And it's about how we can use cards that don't have go again in our arsenal. It's gonna be fun. So we shoot the arrow, that's fine. We say go again and we fuse it. Okay, all good. Now we use Shock Charmers to make sure that our card is in our pitch zone. Codex of Frailty. I mean, do I have to say anything? Lightning Surge is just the best card in the game. I reckon it's just the best card in the game. What are you going to do about it? Lightning Surges go again, which means we can shoot the Fatigue Shot. Pretty cool. And now it doesn't matter what we draw off the top. Doesn't have go again, that's fine. We can slap that in Arsenal. So Lightning Surge, surprisingly incredibly strong target for Codex of Frailty, and I would love an excuse to continue to run Lightning Surge. Let's say we have a 2-card hand. We have 2-card hands quite a lot. For example, someone comes with a Command and Conquer and you just have to drop 2 arrows, unfortunately. That's fine, that's just how it be sometimes. So 2-card hand, let's say it is a blue ice card and a Codex of Frailty. Let's give this a shot. So assuming that we have protected our arsenal card, fantastic. We can flip it. So again, we have this issue with this card not having go again. I think our best line here is probably... Oh, pitch it. Fuse and shock the thing twice. I don't know. This doesn't work. So what I'm thinking is we go Codex of Frailty, we Voltaire to keep this, we don't have to discard, so we basically just get 2 pitch for free. Pretty good. And now we need to choose an attack in our arsenal. Do we start running 1 Sic Em Shot? Because we only need 1. And we just keep recurring it from the graveyard in situations like this. So if this was a Sic Em Shot, I don't have one on me, then we can shoot both of these, and we still get the ponder. I think we run 1 Sic Em Shot. What a time to be alive. Maybe we could run 2 to make that a bit more consistent. They're trash arrows though. So when it's in Arsenal itself, hello, I think it does very well off a 3-card hand. So let's say this is our hand. Our turn would be use Lexi, flip, go again, fuse, all good. And then we Frailty, Shock Charmers, and get in whatever arrow we want. And we can shoot it. And the ponder lets us put a card into Arsenal. Oh, this is absolutely not a card you want in Arsenal. 1 for 2. Oh, Winter's Bite was bad enough at 2 for 4, but 1 for 2 is just... yeah, a bit dangerous, eh? So, honestly, I'm not sure how to round this up. I thought this would be more conclusive than it has been. What I think of Codex of Frailty. I think it has some really, really strong upsides. Some of your turns can be quite big and quite devastating, especially if you're able to force your opponent to discard a card. Would I run it? I'm going to try some stuff with it. I think Sic Em Shot is worth investigating, just because it's going to free up the way that you're arsenaling a lot more. Okay, Codex of Bloodrot. I mean, it's just the same but worse, right? You get a slightly better token for them, but you have to put your card from hand into Arsenal, so there's no way to avoid that cost. Like we were kind of doing with pitching our fuse cards to Shock Charmers to keep some pitch floating. We can't do that with Bloodrot because we have to put the card from our hand into Arsenal. So it's kind of like a reload. Maybe they have to do like a reload as well. Inertia, I don't want to... yeah, it's so risky. I mean, particularly when we've got things like Winter's Grasp in the deck, we just don't want to Inertia a Winter's Grasp into our Arsenal. Okay, and there's one more card that I didn't talk about that is also going for $30 at the moment, and that is Premeditate. It could be fine. I don't like these kind of cards, these pump cards. I think it's great for Azalea because you can pretty much guarantee that it's going to hit, guarantee that you're going to get that Arsenal. For us, we don't want to be playing without an Arsenal, so if there's a chance that they block it out, it feels pretty bad. Also, it's a red, it's not an arrow, it's not an ice card. Our slots for that kind of card are so tight, and Codex of Frailty is waving to us and bringing along its friends Lightning Surge and Sic Em Shot, so I don't know if we're going to have space for Premeditate either. Maybe if you were running some fun Shiver thing, then you could run Premeditate. I think it would be good then, but I'm not giving you advice on how to run your Shiver Lexi. Keep doing it though. Honestly, Iris Dromai, I didn't see that coming. Someone made that. That destroys me. Ugh. So yeah, keep running your Shiver. That's fine. What was I talking about? There are some birds going absolutely nuts behind me. Yeah, I think Elisers have done a sterling job keeping Lexi off these cards. The aim counter thing is great, and just making them kind of not play into her game plan as much as they play into someone like Azalea, or, I mean, who knows what Riptide does, but probably Riptide as well. Okay, time for me to go. I'll do the thumbs up again. It's just light everywhere. Look at this. Oh. Oh. Pretty good.